So you're looking at fridges and you've decided a drawer fridge is right for you. But which one? The expensive Dometic or the cheaper Amazon fridge? Well, after months of use and some testing, I have some information for you that you might find valuable. And honestly, you might be shocked which fridge I would choose, well, depending on your application. So let's take a look. All right, right off the gate, let's get the price out of the way. So the Dometic retails somewhere around $5.99. You might be able to find it on special, but that's what I paid for it. I think that's full MSRP. So is what it is. Dometic doesn't really do sales. What I'm dubbing the cheap Amazon fridge, because who the heck can say that name? This guy you can get I think it's $2.99 on sale, sometimes $3.50, $400. The price varies a lot, but if you look hard enough over a course of a month or two, these things regularly go on sale for $2.99. I paid $300 for this one. That's really not bad. Not bad at all. The second set of numbers I'm going to hit you with are how long these fridges took to cool down initially. Now, I ran the test for 24 hours for each fridge multiple times at 70 degrees. That was the ambient temperature of my house. And I let them cool down. Well, I made sure the fridge was 70 degrees and then I just turned them on. I did this because I wanted to simulate what would it be like, since these are clearly going to be hard mounted in your vehicle. Let's say you're going on a trip, you go to the store and you flip these things on. How long does it take to get to that temperature at 70 degrees? And you can kind of get an idea of what this is going to be like. So for the Dometic, 18 minutes and 37 seconds was how fast this thing cooled from 70 down to the temperature I selected, which was 24 degrees. On the Amazon Special, we went 42 minutes from 70 degrees down to 24 degrees. That is pretty long. It's not terrible, about an hour, but it's pretty long compared to the Dometic. This thing is like a speed demon compared to the Amazon fridge. I was quite shocked the speed difference, considering the compressor on this guy actually can take more power. Now, both of these were ran on a DC converter off the house, not inside the vehicle. I did that just because I wanted to keep things as even as possible. So, on to the next test. All right, let me get a little comfy here while I spit some numbers at you. More numbers, anyway. So, during that 24-hour test, I also measured the consumed wattage and the total runtime of the fridge, of both of these. Now remember, these wattage hours, or these wattage numbers, they include the initial cool down of the fridge. And I did that, again, if you're out somewhere or you're heading on a trip, you turn this thing on, you kind of need to know what the whole thing is going to consume. You don't always have the ability to plug your rig in and charge it while your fridge is running, though that might be something that you do if you have that ability. But let's say you're going to the store and you flick the fridge on and throw stuff in there and then head out for a trip. You really need to know how much this thing is consuming. You want to just make your electrical system appropriate for the fridge. By the way, after this, we'll get into some features, and the features are very interesting between the two. So for wattage, the Dometic consumed 306 watts, and it ran a total of 8 hours and 22 minutes in that 24-hour period. So out of that 24-hour period, it would kick on and off for a total of 8 hours and 22 minutes is how much it was actually on. Now, the Amazon Special fridge, it consumed 276 watts, and it had a total runtime of 5 hours and 39 minutes. I was shocked. Now, I ran this test like 4 times because I thought I had made a mistake, and every time the test came out around there somewhere for each fridge, and I averaged these together, and this is what I got. So, like, what the heck? Now that we're done with the numbers section, we'll get into the features between these two fridges, and they take a very different approach. Dometic being very minimalist, and the Amazon Special giving you quite a lot for your money, actually, if I'm being honest with you. So the Dometic is very simple. You have a knob here, you turn it to whatever that is, and the fridge will kick on almost immediately, and this is how you vary your temperature. There's no numbers, no nothing, just that is some kind of cold, and that's what you get. Also, note this box, and that's how you turn it off. You just flip it all the way around. Note this box here, this control panel, does not exist in the Amazon fridge. So technically, if you're really concerned about space, the Amazon fridge does give you a bit more space because you do not have this box on the interior. Also, the Amazon fridge does give you dividers, which this fridge does not. That's it. That's all this fridge has to offer as far as features. It's very, very minimalist. This does technically have a low voltage cutoff. It's 10.8 volts. It's not adjustable. It just is what it is. I'm not going to call it a low voltage cutoff. I think that's just the fridge won't run if the voltage is lower than that. And that is what it is. With the Amazon fridge, however, you get all the features. You get adjustable low voltage cutoff, you get a max and eco mode, although in my testing I couldn't really tell the difference between the two, except the max did cool down faster, but I couldn't tell that the eco used any less power once the fridge was already cold. So there is that. Everything is adjustable through the setting button. You have a thermometer, digital thermometer display here. You can adjust it with these two buttons on and off here. You get myriad of features, pretty nice fridge, and if you want features, this is the fridge to go with. So hopefully you can see this. So here's the top of the Dometic fridge, this black piece right here. Notice how thin this is. That is about an inch of thickness there. That's all your insulation on the top. Now if we contrast that with this guy, the Amazon fridge, you get about 2 inches of insulation on the top. This Amazon fridge has the same insulation all the way around the fridge, whereas this Dometic, they sacrifice insulation on the top and the bottom. On the sides has actually less than the Amazon fridge too. This is just a thicker fridge all the way around. But I really think the reason that the Amazon fridge is more efficient than the Dometic fridge is because the extra insulation the cabinet has. And if you see this gray tape here, you'll actually come to realize that that is insulation that I've added inside my cabinet here. I added about an inch of insulation all the way around it, and I figured, well, if this has an inch less and I add an inch to it, this thing's probably very efficient. I can't tell you whether it's actually helped or not because I've not measured the fridge and what its current draw is, but you know, more insulation can never hurt in this case. So I figured that probably has helped, and I did that just to compensate it because I chose to install this fridge. And now I'll tell you why I chose the Dometic over the Amazon fridge, and I'm going to tell you which one that you should probably choose giving on your situation. All right, we've talked a lot. Now, which fridge would I choose? Clearly, I have chosen the Dometic fridge, but it's not as simple as that. I chose this fridge because the Dometic fridge actually seems to be a bit better built. The latching mechanism is stronger, has a better satisfying click. The Amazon fridge, you really have to give it a push to lock it. The latch seems a bit, well, less designed, I'll say. But if you're gentle with it, it'll probably last you just fine. Just the Dometic, for me, it seems like an overall better constructed fridge. That being said, you should only install the Dometic if you have a dual battery system, and if that dual battery system is isolated, meaning your engine battery, your main battery for your engine is separated from the auxiliary battery when the ignition is off, because this fridge will drain your batteries to 10.8 volts, and I cannot tell you if that will actually start your vehicle or not. My guess is probably not. 10.8 volts is pretty dang low. You're getting there on the cusp of like vehicles barely being able to start, if possible at all. 10.8 volts, I think that's what the fridge just cannot run on anymore. I don't really think it's a low voltage cutoff in the sense that we're all used to what that actually means. This guy is perfect if you're running a single battery system or you're not running an isolated pair of batteries. It's got a very adjustable low voltage cutoff, so you can protect your batteries. It's a bit more insulated by default, so you don't have to kind of build a custom cabinet around it and insulate it to get what you want. And it's cheap. It's really cheap. If I didn't have the Dometic fridge and I didn't go buy the Dometic for this testing, I probably would have stuck with this Amazon, EHDB, whatever this is. I would have stuck with this Amazon fridge and used it and probably would have been just fine. Just the latch is not very satisfying to me. I don't like it. It probably will fail at some point, but luckily you can replace the clasp underneath here, so is it a big deal? To me it kind of was, but to you, maybe it won't be. But that's a recommendation. Go with this guy unless you want durability and you have a dual battery system. Then go with the Dometic if you can afford it. There's one other little thing that I want to show you, and that's the back of this. This guy makes it so you can pretty much install anywhere and not have to build this, well, this cabinet, this deck that I've built to protect the fridge. This gives you some protection over the compressor and everything else, and it seems to function just fine. Also, this can run on AC power, so if you mount it right, put it in a vehicle or you're putting it in somewhere, you can actually plug this thing into your house to get it to cool down and then switch it back over to DC if you want. The Dometic is DC only, which is why I did the test using a DC converter in the house, because I can't compare a fridge running on AC to a fridge running on DC. I don't think that's fair. It's very interesting that Dometic made that decision, but these are not really meant to go in AC applications, so I understand why you don't need it. And note that the compressor on the back of this is completely open. Like when you pull it out of the box, you will see the compressor, the condenser, and everything. It does not have a metal protective box on the back like this does. So you will have to cover this with something. You will have to protect that compressor in some way, depending on how you're mounting it. Whereas this, not so much. It's somewhat protected. You can be a little more rough with it as far as this section goes. I just remembered one last thing that I wanted to tell you, and it's a little shocking. It's actually more shocking than like the wattage test. This guy, fridge freezer, rated down to 0 degrees. The Dometic, not a fridge freezer, a fridge only. I think it's rated down to 20 degrees or something like that if I remember right. It's in the literature, but it is not classified as a fridge freezer. It will not go to 0 degrees. This guy will go to 0 degrees. I find that very shocking that Dometic has a $600 fridge that does not go to be a freezer. We don't care, obviously, because I installed it in here and we're planning to use it as a fridge only. But if you want something that can do both for whatever reason, the Amazon fridge is looking to be a little bit better of a deal. It's actually a lot better of a deal. I mean, at $350, you're getting a lot of features packed into this thing. So my recommendation is you want a lot of features, you're on a budget, and most importantly, you're not running a dual battery system and you need that voltage cutoff, run this guy. You just want something durable, you don't care about the features, and you have an isolated dual battery system, run the Dometic fridge and you'll be fine. I think both are good fridges, just really depends on what your needs are and what you like. So I think that's about it. I think that's all I have. If you want a video on this cabinet back here that I'm building with this drawer system, let me know. I'll do a video on that. It's turned out to be quite the interesting project. We're really liking it so far. It's helping us a lot in keeping things organized. So anyway guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.